Hello, welcome to Rock Your Block in today's segment of 495 Metro. I'm your host, Trudy Richardson, and with me is co-host Edward Richardson. Joining us today is Lorette Farris, Business Development Strategist and President of iBoss Incorporated. Welcome, Lorette.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Good. We are going to dive right into the interview so we can deliver as much information to our viewing audience as time allows. Lorette, can you start by telling our viewing audience who is Lorette Farris?
That's a long story, but since we have a little bit of time,
Okay.
I am a former investment banker, former business broker, also did mergers and acquisitions. I am now a business strategist that helps small businesses reach where they're trying to go.
And can you tell us, how did you go about choosing this profession?
Financial services is really just the place that I landed and really took to it. I went through federal government, book publishing, medical supplies. It wasn't until I got into financial services that I found a home.
You found a home.
Yeah, I got to where I am now because of the new regulations that I wanted to bring in front of small businesses.
So you say you found your passion.
Absolutely.
And helping small businesses develop and see their vision come true.
Yes.
In lieu of that, can you share with us one of your biggest accomplishments, one of the things that you're most proud about that you've done as a...
I would say to you one of my proudest moments was the day that I passed my final security license test. To get your broker's license, to get your principal's license, and I got a second principal's license in 3 months' time,
Wow.
which was an anomaly for the industry, but definitely for me, it was one of the proudest moments.
Mm-hmm. And you mentioned that you worked on Wall Street. How long did you stay on Wall Street?
About 10 years.
10 years?
Mm-hmm.
So would you say that's a very stressful environment? Or for people like us that don't know anything about Wall Street, what can you tell us about that?
Stressful is a really nice way of putting it. I was the president and CEO of an investment banking firm. We generally did smaller offerings between the $3 and $10 million range. So we, even at the time on Wall Street, I was working with smaller businesses. You are definitely on 24 hours a day. Outside of while trading is happening, and again, trading closes down at 4 o'clock. By the time trading closes, it's everything else that has to be done. I also had 300 employees between New York and Florida, 7 offices, financial office in Colorado, so constantly juggling the different aspects of not just raising capital, but running a $35 million organization.
And so I guess while you were exposed to being on Wall Street and investments, I guess at that time, as you were going through that process, you saw a need for helping small businesses and giving them strategies to develop a business plan and to, I guess, see their dreams come true.
Absolutely. While on Wall Street, one of the bigger things for me was I didn't see companies that looked like me trying to raise capital. And so when I came off of Wall Street, one of my passions was to help those businesses understand how to access capital the same way others were accessing capital. So it's been a passion, a mission for me in this space to make sure that these companies get similar services that the bigger companies receive.
And for me, what you're doing sounds very rewarding for a small business person because I have a business of my own. But we won't talk about that right now. But when I was doing my research, you mentioned that one of the biggest obstacles in an interview that you did is for most small businesses is how to go about raising capital. And understanding that process. Can you tell us what that entails, what small businesses need to do, or the paperwork, or what the steps they need to do to go about that?
Yes. One of the things I like to make sure I point out is a lot of people understand that term access to capital. And when you really start looking at what that's talking about, usually it's talking about loans. What I'm talking about isn't loans, it's equity side of the market. So when you're talking about equity, you're now, when you say, what do you need to have a thought, a plan, a passion for a project that can actually make a return on investment for someone to want to put that capital in. So what you would need is your business plan, your executive summary. A lot of operational businesses need to clean up their financials. So the things you would need to try to walk down this path to raise capital, really think about yourself, and if somebody came to you with an idea, would you invest or not? So you sort of think about all of those outliers that has to be in place to make someone interested to want to move forward to invest in you. So those are the things, and if they don't have them, that's what they need to learn about the pieces to put in place. Your financials is generally the biggest issue you want to make sure is right, whether you're a startup or existing. Startup, it's your projections, and how is your marketing really going to equal those projections. And existing businesses, whatever your historical financials are, make sure they're in good shape. When I say clean it up, you don't want personal financial items running through your business's bank account, things of that nature.
And that was one of the questions that I was going to ask as you were speaking. How important is, if say say you have some personal marks on your credit and in your financials, how does that affect you in trying to start up a business and get capital or investments or loans?
Credit is an issue when it comes to trying to do a loan, traditional loans. Credit isn't so much an issue when you're trying to do equity. The funny thing there is investors understand entrepreneurial pursuits, and many times as a small business owner, your credit has taken some hits. Investors don't walk away because your credit isn't stellar, because an investor, what they want is an entrepreneur with the passion and the dream and the desire to make their money make money. So they're not as concerned about the credit. Credit they may look at to understand, and they never really run your credit. But in general, they may understand your credit, but it doesn't prevent them. That is not an impediment for an investment.
For investment. And the other thing that you mentioned that myself and my audience may not know as well, you said executive summary. What is an executive summary?
Thank you, I'm glad you asked that. So your business plan is the full-blown plan of what you're going to do, how you're going to do. Executive summary is a summary of your business plan. Generally, when you're trying to engage with someone, you don't provide your full business plan. You provide this summary that gives them a snapshot of what you're trying to do. If they're interested, then they'll ask for, or you want to show them the full business plan. So the executive summary are the highlights, the summary of your business plan.
Well, we're about to have to take a break, but when we come back from taking a break, I'd like to have my co-host present to you a fictitious study of a small business that they've gone as far as they can go. And they're trying to decide whether they want to partner with somebody, they want to invest with somebody, or they want to find ways that they can take their business to the next level.
Wonderful.
So we're looking forward to doing that. So don't touch that remote. Stay tuned, and we'll return in a few minutes. Thank you.
How can you keep your wealth in good health? How can you protect yourself? Each week, the hosts and guests provide education about wealth empowerment, tax laws, healthcare basics, retirement strategies, money management, and much more.
Welcome back. You are watching Rock Your Block and today's segment of 495 Metro. We are interviewing Lorette Farris, Business Development Strategist and President of iBoss Incorporated. Before we left for break, I said to Lorette, I have a fictitious case study that I'd like to discuss. Here is the scenario. Ed?
Well, I finally get a chance to say something, huh? Well, here is the scenario. We have a 5-year-old LLC, food manufacturing company, and the business has all the proper licenses, required permits, social and media construct is in place. And now the company realizes that in order for it to grow regionally, they either have to get partners, investors, or maybe they want to sell the business and keep some controlling interest. Mm-hmm. So, what advice and strategy would iBoss suggest to this particular client?
Okay. The first thing I'd like to understand is what does the client really want?
Okay.
5 to 10 years from now, where are they? What do they see? Whether it's a product or whether it's a company, understanding what your exit strategy is helps you build in to what you need to do to get there.
Okay.
So first, understanding what do they want, where are they looking to go? Because when I hear that scenario, there are 3 thoughts I have. And one could be, and you express them, one could be the mergers and acquisitions. One could be just to divest yourself, to sell the operation to someone else and it's hands off. Or the other could be to actually get the capital that you need to grow the business into what you're looking for it to be.
Okay.
If we had to look at the first scenario, mergers and acquisitions, I would say you're looking for a strategic partner. You're looking for someone who's already in that space, already doing it, because you may get a better price. They may be looking to grow by way of acquisition, so a strategic play makes sense to them because they've already played out their projections.
Okay. I have a question that's a little bit off the beaten path. Mm-hmm. Okay, and it goes like this. I'm a viewer, I'm watching this show right now, and I'm thinking to myself, this is sort of over my head. Okay, I have a great idea. I want to go into X business, this food business, in this case study. How do I get in contact with you, or what do I do? How would I get in contact with someone like you, or with you exactly? And then what would the process look like in order for me to help get into this scenario?
What's happening in the market today, there aren't a lot of me.
Okay, that's a good thing for you.
That's a very good thing. That's a very good thing. But what I mean by that is the Jobs Act of 2012 has created a whole new market of capital.
Okay.
And so when I say there aren't a lot of me, I'm coming into this from a compliance background. So helping companies understand those rules that are now available for them. So the issue for small businesses is they don't even know that this is available. So how do you access me? Through shows like this, having an opportunity to get the message out there that there are options. And then when we talk about all these numbers just sound too big, I totally agree, but that's also where education comes from, because these new capital markets, you can raise $250,000. There are a number, it depends on what you need and how you need to access it for what it is you have an opportunity to go after. The small example we just talked about, a merger and acquisition, and you asked me earlier about credit. You can have an entrepreneur who doesn't have the best of credit, but he has an idea to take this product, and instead of just looking at the product, he might want to look at a whole strategy where maybe he buys a factory to produce this product. He's found 2 or 3 other small companies doing something similar that he wants to buy, and now all of a sudden he has an acquisition strategy of a factory, complementary products, maybe even the distribution channel. Now all of a sudden he has what he needs to go to, a traditional lending source, because now he has an asset. His credit may still be an issue, but that's only one. And now he has these other assets that start overcoming whatever that issue is. So again, there are just a lot of different ways, and none of that has to be big money. This factory he wanted to buy could be, in the neighborhood that the government wants some property to be developed. He can get it for a very small dollar amount. These could be $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 companies. So it's not that I'm only talking about these big deals. These strategies can work in Main Street. They just need the information.
So in our case study here, Company X, they've decided that they want to take on investors, and with an idea 10 years down the road, let's say, as you mentioned, they're going to sell the business, but they want to keep some controlling interest. Would an investor want to know all of that going in to this kind of deal,
yes,
if you will?
Yes.
And how is that sold basically to the investor?
Okay, so we spoke a little while ago about the business plan and the executive summary.
Okay.
Those are the documents that you're explaining what your vision is. So the business plan is talking about what you're looking to do. How generally you're going to do a business plan for a 3 to 5 year horizon.
Now, could you help with that?
That's it. Yeah, that's what we do. We help you to first, what's your strategy? What are we looking to do? How are we looking to do it? Then we start putting the documents together. Once we understand via the business plan where you're looking to go, now we can start talking about, now how are we going to access the capital that is necessary to make these plans come to fruition?
So you're actually going to help this company plan the plan.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
That's awesome.
That's exactly right.
That's awesome.
One of the things that I do.
Here for you. Let's see here.
One of the things I do is, like this scenario, you come to me and you say you want to raise capital because you want to do this. It could be that what you're trying to do, raising capital, isn't the right thing.
Okay.
Exactly. So I need to be able to help you in whatever direction you want to go in. And so it includes explaining to you why you might not raise money from an investor versus the things you need to put in there so that we're in a better place to raise money from an investor.
Now, I know that our audience, they're thinking to themselves, this is all well and good. I want to go in, I want to get my company running, and then at some point in time, I want to cash out. But that last part really intrigues me because you want to have some controlling interest. You want some dividends to pay for this great idea that you had going forward. How do you evaluate a business so that the business owner can keep some controlling shares? How does that work?
Again, that's just a function of how you choose to put your plan out there. Now,
so in other words, that becomes a stipulation. Anyone you talk to, you say, okay, this is where we're going to wind up. You've got to be good with this.
That's exactly right.
Or is it a point of negotiation, so to speak?
It can be a point of negotiation. There are two ways you can raise capital from an investor. You can have from your business plan, he'll give you the term, he or she will give you the terms for what they're willing to invest, and then you have a negotiated option, or you can do a security offering of which you've made the determination what you want to give up when you're putting your documents together. So again, it's going to depend on what you're looking for which direction you go in, and you build out what you want.
Now, I'm going to come straight out of left field. This is not one of our questions on the list here. It's not on the list here. And Trudy did some fantastic work putting these questions together. But I'm thinking, there's somebody in the audience that says, I want to go into business and I may need a partner. How do you match up personalities and that kind of thing? Or is that even important?
That's very important, and it's not easy. I mean, there are a lot of partnerships that just don't make it.
Yes, this is exactly what I'm talking about.
Marriages, partnerships, okay? So you have to choose really well if you're going to go into partnership with someone. And you can help people with
that, right?
I can help you to understand the roadblocks.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, Exactly. They have to make that decision. Now, when you're talking about raising capital, though, you don't have to do the same traditional partnership that you're used to, because if you're selling shares of your company, then maybe what you want to have is the right kind of risk management insurance package that if the partnership has to divorce.
Wait. Risk management insurance package.
Huh,
so is this
new.
business alimony? What is it?
That is exactly right. I never thought of it that way.
Honey, we got to talk.
Insurance.
Okay.
I like that.
You know, in insurances,
But people need to know these things,
there is
right?
key management. There are different
Yeah.
insurances that can protect you when you're going into business arrangements. They support what your deal is. And so those are the things you want to have someone who's experienced help you to understand what you could put in place to protect you.
Can you help one of our viewers if they have an idea that is so proprietary, intellectually proprietary? Can you help them protect it? Can you show them how they can protect that and still perhaps attract an investor or potential partner? Do you do that kind of thing?
Yes. What I do is I work with a lot of different service providers. So IBOSS stands for Back Office Systems and Services.
Thank you for saying that.
Okay. In our back office, we have built a lot of different service providers. So again, as I'm talking about what you need, I'm then able to direct you to the team that's going to be able to satisfy all those pieces.
That's awesome.
So when it comes to that, intellectual property is one of the first things you want to make sure you do protect. You also might want to set that up as a separate company.
Talk to our viewers about this term team. What does a basic team look like when they come to you, or what should it look like when they come to you and they're looking at perhaps attracting an investor? Am I coming by myself, or I'm bringing with me accountants? What am I coming to the table with?
When you come to me, it can be any one of those. When you leave me, it needs to be what needs to happen for you to execute the reason you came to me to begin with.
Okay.
So you might come to me with really just a raw idea and need me to help you to put this team together. And that team could consist of an SEC attorney, a chief financial officer, a web developer, promotional people, all the pieces that you would need to get yourself set up, ready, and then ready to do an offering. When it comes to raising capital, especially if you're looking at investors, if they can't see that you have a strong team, that's actually one of the first things that they'll walk away from a deal.
Yes, I can see that.
Investors understand that the business plan they're looking at today may not look anything like the company you see 3 years from now. So they want to know that there is a strong enough team that as things change, that team understands how to maneuver and still keep that company going. If you have people without experience, when they hit a roadblock, they may not know what to do. So investors want to know that their money is protected by experience. Your team is significant.
I think that's a huge point for people to understand. If you're really going to attract an investor, and if you're really going to push your business forward, you really do need a team.
Absolutely.
And you could be a part of that team. iBoss could be a part of that team. I think that we've learned a lot today. Is there anything that we've forgotten to ask, or we should ask, that you'd like to share with our viewers in this subject of raising capital?
The piece I would share is, even myself will sit here and say how easy it is and this is in place. It is not a task that a company wants to take on if they are truly not ready. If they're not ready, they're going to waste time and they're going to waste money. If they're ready, then they have to understand that they're going to need to listen to that experience on the team. But they also have to be strong enough to know if that's their passion. They work within some lines for the process, but they got to keep that passion going because that's what the investor is looking for when we talk about that return on investment.
Now my host has been gracious enough to allow me to ask some questions, but did you have anything that came to mind as for maybe a question our viewers might have before we sign off today?
No, I mean, I feel that you provided a wealth of information for anybody that either wants to go into business or is already in business or thinking about how to go to the next level. I think you've identified with the audience of people who are doing that there is a company out here that can help them from soup to nuts, so to speak, or from the start to the beginning of where they want to go, and that you have, within your company, you have everything in place to answer the questions, put them in contact, steer them in the right direction. So,
well, I think we've accomplished our mission today in terms of our viewership, and thank you, Lorette, for coming on the show. Obviously, we want to help people to become the people that they were meant to be so that they can live the life that they were meant to live. And just sometimes having something spark an idea that can change your life is all you need. And I think you brought that value to the to our audience today. And obviously we're big fans of yours, and we really feel blessed to have you on our show. It has been a pleasure to have you on our show as our guest, and we want to thank you for sharing with our viewing audience on the strategies that they might use to raise capital for their business. And hey, if you can contact Lorette by visiting 495metro.com. Remember, today is a good day. We'll tell our audience, remember, today is a good day. It's a good day to start living the life you were meant to live so that you can be the person you were meant to be. Thank you very much, viewing audience, for being with us today. And thank you, Lorette, and thank you, Trudy.
Thank you.
All right.